Hey guys, it's Destiny, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what I believe will make Honkai Star Rail the best version of itself that it can be. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Just for a little context or backstory, Honkai Star Rail is going to be HoYoverse's newest game, set to release at the end of April, which will be a turn-based game, and I have a few thoughts of what will make the game have its best possible potential. To begin, I think the currency we receive in-game should be set at a fair amount. By this, I mean we should be able to generate a good amount of pulls by putting in a considerate amount of time into the game. I do believe day one or week one we will likely receive a good amount of goodies as it's the game's release. The pre-registration rewards, or the pre-registration meter rather, will likely all be obtained by how fast we are building towards that goal and so on. So far in the beta, I don't think the amount we get honestly is very much, but if you do put a good amount of time into the game, you definitely will accumulate a good amount of pulls as you play through in the story. So overall, in final release, I hope they just bump up the amount of Stellar Jades by just a bit, and I think everything will be just fine. Speaking of Stellar Jade, which is the premium currency in this game, if you have played Genshin, think of it as Primo Gems. I hope the game incorporates a good amount of events that will give us premium currency. Possibly 4 stars, materials for our characters, and so on. Currently, there actually is an event in the game, and the current event is where basically you get to play these stages. You get to play it on an easy mode, a normal-ish mode, and I'm guessing a hard mode. Of course, they're titled differently, but that's the event, and you get to do that once a day. If you beat it on the hardest mode, it's just a stage where you fight enemies. Then you'll get all the rewards for that day, and it is a pretty simple event, if I'm being honest. I feel like that will likely also be our first event in the actual game as well. But I don't think it's per se a bad thing because it is kind of simple, just, free currency. It's really fast to do. But I do hope in the future that the events have a bit more story than I guess the current event we have. Additionally, if you are enjoying the video so far and want to support the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Let's carry on. I personally believe the game as well as Genshin and Honkai Impact are decently resourceful with the events we do receive, so I expect Honkai Star Rail to be no different. By decently, I mean it's an okay amount. It's not super generous, but it's not, I feel super greedy either. And I hope we get roughly about 2 events a month. One event can be long if it has multiple tasks we could do, a good amount of Stellar Jade. Maybe it has story included and so on. So I'm thinking either 2 short events a month or a long one a month can be pretty nice for the player base. I mean, that's personally what I would really like. As for content in the game alongside the events, I hope that we get regular updates with the story. Maybe an update every 1.5 months or 2 months would be nice, assuming we get a lengthy amount of story in that time. I assume it'll be like Genshin though, with 2 banners and update, and that's roughly 40 to 45 days for the length between updates in the game if they do follow that style. Overall, I hope we get good updates with lengthy story added on, since I'm a huge fan of the story. I really love the story so far that I played. I'm thinking about possibly not even beating the CBT3 just so I have, some surprise when it comes to the final release. Although I am playing a good amount of the CBT3 just so I can get as much information that is needed for videos as possible. But overall, I might just hold off a little bit on the story because I don't want to go through all of it. Since I'm having so much fun, I would love to play it on the release date. But the last topic of today's video will be endgame. Now this one is going to be a little interesting, I feel like. Personally, I hope they incorporate multiple gameplay modes for endgame that are challenging and worth the while of upgrading our characters to be the best they can be in our accounts. I love making character builds, as I love enjoying my characters progressively getting stronger throughout my adventures in a game, and then being able to put my characters and the strategy I've made with my team composition to the test. That is really enjoyable for me. I love doing it in non-gacha RPGs as well. In any RPG game I've ever played, I love making my characters stronger if I can change their elements, or if there's a lot of characters I can choose from, or let's say you only get 4 characters throughout the story, but you could change their classes. I love messing around with classes, making my own types of combos as to what I can do with characters. So overall, I just love doing it because it feels like so much fun. It feels like I did something unique with my characters, and I feel like doing that is just, it's just really fun. I've always loved that about RPGs, the building of your characters, making your team stronger, and all of that good stuff. So I hope we get a good amount of endgame like modes in Honkai Star Rail. As in the beta, there is Simulated Universe and Forgotten Hall, which I believe can be challenging. I would just want those modes and any additional modes that we do get to be regularly updated to have, like, you know, different bonuses, possible different enemies or different weaknesses, so we can play around with multiple teams and so on. Because I feel like if it's the same enemies every week or the same weaknesses, I can just keep using the same team non-stop. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like it defeats the purpose of building multiple teams and having fun building multiple teams. I mean, I personally will build multiple teams, assuming I have a good amount of resources. I will obviously prioritize my main team first, but then when I have additional resources or just, you know, extra resources that I've gathered, I'll start upgrading other characters too, since I do definitely want to make multiple teams, have fun with multiple teams. I do want to also make, I guess, a free-to-play friendly team, or a free-to-play team, which that team is basically just going to consist of only free-to-play characters, just to see how much the free-to-play characters can defeat with their capabilities and the content. And of course, I'll make my team that will have the characters I've either spent money on or that I've pulled from banners, just so I can see the real difference between those free-to-play characters and the ones that you pull for. Which, of course, once the game is out, I will be making those types of videos. I will be, you know, comparing them. I will also be making free-to-play guides if there is something really difficult. So that will exist, and I'm really excited to do that as well, because I would love to mess around like with the free-to-play characters as well, just to see their maximum capabilities with everything else in the game. Overall, I feel like Honkai Star Rail would be an excellent game to once again incorporate those different modes and endgame to conquer through. And I feel like this game is like really perfect for having some form of endgame. If our endgame is Simulated Universe and Forgotten Hall, I guess that is okay. I know we're supposed to, I believe, get 2 more modes, which those modes are okay, but I feel like once you beat them for whatever time period, and if they don't have a reset, if they do have a reset, great, but you're not really playing those modes again until the reset happens, which is similar to Spiral Abyss. So I'm hoping that with the 2 other modes they add, it's more of a consistent, like you'll want to play it a good amount, or, you know, a decent amount at least. Overall, I feel like it'll be okay though. I think the game will have some form of endgame. If it doesn't and they go the route of no endgame, I would be pretty confused personally, because I feel like this game is literally perfect for it. But those are just my personal thoughts. And honestly, that'll be it for my thoughts of what will make Honkai Star Rail the best version of itself. And I'd love to know in the comments down below what you guys want Honkai Star Rail to have and what you're looking forward to. I hope all of you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button to see more from me, and also hit the like button to support the video, as it really helps the video. And I hope you all have a nice one. Peace.